Welcome to Super Summit 2025. Thank you. Thank you, Karina. We made it. Thank you, Headlamp. You can come from India, but you can't come from Burlingame. But shout out Headlamp in the house. Give them a round of applause. So this is our fourth Super Summit, and the first time we've been in San Francisco. This event is for all of you. Everybody in the room, you are called the Hive. This is your opportunity to meet each other, to mingle, ask each other hard questions, meet someone new. Ela and I were chatting this morning and we're like, you can meet at least 5 new people while you're here. So we have a packed agenda. Big shout out for Team Super Summit. They've been working really hard to put together a packed agenda for you for the next day and a half. So can we give Team Super Summit a round of applause? So you will be able to find KC, Ela, Kat, Joey. Raise your hands. We're sort of clustering over here. So if you have any questions, please give us a nod or a tap. Thank you, everybody, for coming. We've people who've come far and wide, from Bangalore, from Denver, from LA, from New York. So thank you for making the distance and committing to the time. So we're going to go and get this party started. We've got a very exciting first panel. I'm going to invite Tom and Vivek and Jeremy on stage. So let's get the music rolling. Thank you, everybody.
No more physical therapy today.
How are we doing? I didn't get to go to the burn. We're just gonna work this out. And there we are. I didn't get to go to the burn this year, so that was my burn right there. Adrian, how'd you like that?
When was the last time? When was the last time you went to the burn?
Okay, Vivek, sit down. Welcome, everybody. It's so great to have you with us. This is going to be, as Deirdre pointed out, our 4th annual Super Summit. And the irony is this is the first one in San Francisco. So it's about time. Really delighted to have everybody here with us. It's been quite a year. A lot of progress. And the occasional zigs and zags, right? Because that's what comes with company building. So we're going to really delve into all of the aspects of company building. We're going to learn from each other. We're going to connect and collide and have fun. I want to come back to something Deirdre said. Let's take a minute right now, and I'm going to ask each of you to get up from your chairs and go and meet somebody you don't know. Any person you don't know. I know. Oh my God, he's going to make me do this. Yeah, we're going to do this. Get up, introduce yourself, and say hi. Let's do it right now. All right, that's lovely. Mission accomplished.
Oh.
Mission accomplished. Okay, everybody.
Right.
Woo-hoo. Woo. All right. And we're back. Okay, here we go. Take your seats. That was wonderful. Mission accomplished. Everybody sit down.
Okay.
All right, here we go.
Can you
Max.
get some mics up?
Kevin, Adrian Leguvelo, sit down. Eric, I see you. Oh my God. Mission accomplished in spades. All right. Absolutely beautiful. That's the spirit we're looking for here. So as we spend the next day and a half together, I'm going to urge you all, don't hug the wall. More of that. Run around, introduce yourself. We conduct these events to learn from each other. It's all about you, right? We want everybody to, this is not for us. This entire undertaking is for you. So thank you for that spirit. I'm going to ask Vivek and Jeremy to reflect with me for a minute on the last year. Let's, if you would, give us a single word.
For me, that word is gratitude. And it's been a tough year, and I'm just grateful to be here with all of you, and grateful for all the support and the best wishes and all of that I've received over the last year. So thank you. So my word's gratitude.
We love you, V.
Check. For me, I would say resilient. I'm a big fan of Charlie Munger, as you guys up here know. He has many sayings that I like. One is, don't be a victim, be a survivor. And there were many opportunities this year to think the world was ending, think Superset was ending, to go into deep, dark places. I think at a few moments, maybe some of us did, but I think on the whole, we were quite resilient. And I think many people in this room were super, super sturdy through all of the big challenges and the small challenges. And I hope when we look back on this year, we think that it was hard, and we also see that some of the decisions we made, some of the companies we started, some of the people that we brought in are, pivotal in the success that we will have had. So hopefully we can keep that going forward, and hopefully it won't be quite as hard, but I'm sure we'll have some more surprises along the way.
So how many people, yeah, thank you, Jeremy. How many people were at last year's Super Summit in India? Show of hands. Good. So if you were there, you remember Vivek and I did our kooky renewal of the vow. We did our silver anniversary, 25 years. I donned a bridal veil, and we did the vows. So here we are, one year later. Vivek, you scared the crap out of me, but man, we're so grateful that you're here. And
thank you.
And
I scared the crap out of myself too.
Look, but my word is velocity, right? This last year, on the personal level, but in all ways, was just a blur, right? And I think as we think about the time ahead, and this is how we want to set the table for our time together, it's only going to get faster. It's only going to get crazier. I wish I could tell you that it's going to slow down, but it's not, right? And so I was reflecting recently with an old friend who's been at this for a long, long time. And this is the part where we just sound like really old people, but you look at this and you say, my God, you thought you knew some things, you thought you had seen a pattern. Everything you thought you know, throw it out the window. I mean, learn from it, keep it in your gut. But we're all learning on the job, because the rate at which new technologies, new opportunities, new possibilities take root is, and everybody says 10x, it's not 10x. It's 50x and climbing. So let's pause for a minute to reflect on why we named this year's conference Outside In. Also harking back to last year, because there is some continuity here. Remember, along the way, people have asked, what's the strategy for Superset? And we've said, it's people, product, customers, in that order. Last year, if you were in India, you remember we started to re-examine that. And we said, no, it's people, customers, product, in that order. And so this year, we really want to punctuate it. We want to put a big exclamation point on it. Outside In is about meeting the market and understanding what customers and consumers want in a deep, personal way. Don't read the blog post. Don't use your jazz hands. We've been talking about this in the last day. Put on your safari hat, click your recorder on, go through the jungle, and just learn. Pay close attention to what these pesky customers need, what they want. That's why we've named this year's conference Outside In. That's the spirit, that's the priority, that's the meme that we want to drive forward for everybody. Vivek, what is this? Can you say a little bit more about what this means for you? Because I think you and I have both been on this journey.
Yeah, and I think first, +1 to what you said, we we were examining it last year, and we did come to this realization that it should be people, customers, product in that order. For me, it's the outside-in theme is more than just customers, right? Yes, from a product perspective, what we're building, of course, needs to be anchored in what pain points customers have and how we could solve them. But for me, it's bigger than that. It's about learning from how people outside Superset are doing things. AI, and this is cliched, but it's true, AI really has transformed how we work, right? And the 50x that Tom is talking about, a good chunk of that comes from the tooling now available with AI, right? So keeping your mind open to how other companies, other groups are leveraging AI to drive that productivity to go from 1x to 10x to 50x, that also is a huge part of outside in for me. The leading indicator of how important this is the number of quality publications now that I am reading on Substack. The number of people who have lots and lots of interesting ideas, and they're sharing them with the whole world. That's the beauty of it. They're just sharing them, and I'm a voracious reader, as most of you know, so I love it, and I'm learning so much from all of that. So that's what outside in addition to everything you said, that's what outside in means to me as well.
So if you're prioritizing customers and standing in their pain, as Peter Day likes to call it, this means that building a great product is a necessary condition, but it's not a sufficient condition for success, right? It means that you don't get credit. You don't even get partial credit for showing up on a customer call and saying, but I tried really, really hard. Outcomes, performance for customers and for ourselves is the only thing that matters. So if you're sitting in this room and you're looking at your colleague, I want you to know you have a right to your expectation that your coworkers be kicking ass, that they be in it to win it, right?
And Tom, that's just going back to your word, velocity. One of the key ingredients, if you want to move fast and not break things, right? You have to do it that way. Like, you have to demand excellence across the board from everybody in your company, your colleagues in particular, and that's how you achieve velocity. Otherwise, you're just slowing everybody down. So for me, it's a must-have.
And the other primary path to velocity is collaboration. If you think you've got the whole picture in your brain, you're hallucinating like an LLM, right? There's no way that you've got it all up in your head. Things have gotten so fast and so complicated, no single human brain can keep that whole picture at any given moment. Many, many years ago, I went to Vivek, and I came up as an engineer. So I was trained, I did math. I love math because you're wrong or you're right. When you're a programmer, I'm a programmer, it works or it doesn't, right? Years ago, I came to Vivek, you remember this, and I said, my ambition is to go to work every day and be the village idiot and just learn. I'm just going to be dazzled and confused. And if you work with me closely, you know frequently I'm not afraid. I see Max Mathieu nodding his head like, Max, stop. Explain that to me. Teach me how that works. Right? So all of us are on the hook to lock arms. Don't pretend that you're the smart. I mean, you might occasionally be the smartest person in the room, but remember that the teamwork makes the dream work, right? Collaborating and figuring out these puzzles together is the only path forward, which means there can be no brilliant jerks. This is humbling, hard work, right? And I'm so proud of this team because I think that to a person in this room, it's just egoless. Let's get the job done. Let's teach each other. Let's figure it out. Let's go. Let's pause and reflect for a little bit on progress. And I'm not going to be able to go through all the nooks and crannies here, but let's reflect on where we've been. So one of the things that's always driven me crazy about Silicon Valley is that entrepreneurs and venture capitalists only talk about the hits, right? There's another studio with a company that went completely kaput. And I remember reading the key person there disavowing and saying post-hoc, well, I actually had nothing to do with that company. I think I went to a couple meetings, but I didn't really have anything to do with that. Which is, incredibly, it's obviously dishonorable, but it's not the way the world works. You don't get to just claim success. You have to learn from your failures and the things that didn't work. In fact, I think the negative lessons are usually more valuable than the positive ones. So Capstan is a company where a small but mighty team pouring their hearts and souls into, conquering a hard challenge. We learned some lessons. And we've talked about those lessons learned. For us, or for me at least, a principal lesson is you can have a brilliant product, but understanding the buyer and the user, and how are they going to step into the product, and how do you remove friction from that? Really precious, beautiful lessons learned there.
Yeah, 100%. And I think, I don't want to say that, well, I will say it. the how events unfolded at Capstan was one of the, not the only, but one of the reasons why we're so passionate about this outside-in theme is, as Tom said, the product was great. It is great, right? And but we didn't meet the market. We didn't meet the buyers. We didn't meet the users. We didn't meet the customers where we should have met them. And there's a whole bunch of lessons learned and from that. One of them is, now we dedicated a whole super summit to outside in. So, but yeah, it was humbling. It really was.
Jeremy, I was wondering can you talk a little bit about Markov, checksum, Maslow, introduce parallel, and Jarwin?
Sure. That's a lot of companies.
Don't worry, I got a list right here. I'll keep going.
My memory's not that good. You started with Markov. So I think Piyush and Lavish are here, I think. Oh, not yet. I'm sleeping in today. So Markov has had a little bit of a long, winding journey. Started as a company focused much more in ML ops. We didn't meet the market, but we decided to pivot hard into a tool that's much more focused in supporting AEs and selling. And Piyush and Lavish have really stepped up as founding engineers, taking a stronger leadership role in helping us figure that out, and continuing to iterate and learn and try to meet the market, working with some of our Hive companies to pinpoint the exact problem and solution to solve. Checksum is our code quality company doing AI for software testing. Is doing extremely well. Started the year, 300K of revenue. We'll end the year 10x that. So from the outside in, it's amazing and it's doing great. And I really appreciate that I had a conversation yesterday with Gal and a separate one with Abigail where we talked about a whole bunch of ways that Checksum could not work or ditches to stay out of, problems to solve. And so I really appreciate that, yes, the team's working really hard. There's a lot going right, and also still continuing to iterate and have that defensive paranoia, figure out, okay, what are the new ways to iterate? What are the new products to start? Do we deprecate things that we're doing? Do we start new things? Super, super impressive. Maslow, the Maslow team, oh, there he is in the back. So,
Kian, stand up one more time so everybody knows. There's Kian, CEO of Maslow.
Kian is a, cool. Kian's here, he's co-founder, CEO of Maslow. Maslow's bringing a sort of full stack financial suite to nonprofits. Maslow is not a nonprofit. The nonprofit world is a world in which there's tons of dollars moving in and out, and Maslow provides the software for banking, payments, compliance, all of those things that the nonprofits need that you can't quite get in the tools that we use on the for-profit side, like QuickBooks. I would call the Maslow team extremely mission-driven, and a good example of a team meeting the market who deeply understands the problem they're solving, and announced their seed round just yesterday was the announcement, and is well on their way to a Series A. What were the others that I missed? I don't want to leave anyone out. Oh, Parallel. So I see Max over there. Max is a co-founder. Peter's over there. Hey, Peter.
Peter, stand up. Max, stand up so we know who you are. There you are.
So Peter and Max are co-founders of a company called Parallel. In some ways, this is an example of Superset being outside in. So partnering with awesome people like Peter and Max who have their own sort of amazing ideas where we can partner and hopefully help them put that into an amazing company. Parallel is responsible for an enormous amount of traffic on TikTok and are tackling a segment that you could think of as generative organic content on TikTok. So helping brands create sort of viral organic content. We're super excited to partner with them here in the coming months. And similarly, Tom mentioned Jarwin. I see Naz over there, and I think Jim was
Naz and
nearby.
Jim, you're here. Stand up if you would. You guys are around somewhere. Jim's on a customer call.
Oh,
All right.
Jim stepped out for a call. So Jim and Naz are co-founders of Jarwin. Jarwin is another example of teaming up with people who bring deep industry expertise, in this case in payments. And so Jarwin is bringing payments to the agent space. So super excited to work with them in the coming months as well.
Thanks, Jeremy. So Symmetry is a new formation. We just unveiled it last week. Mick J, Jeremy Mickley. By the way, I call him Mick J since there's another Jeremy here. And there's the notorious SWP, also known as Steven. Stand up, guys, so everybody knows who you are. All right.
And Jed.
And where's Jed? Jed is some here. There's Jed. So yeah, we got the Avengers over here. It's an amazing team. We're in the early paces of Symmetry. Again, going through the jungle with our safari hats on, listening to customers and building products at the speed of light under Jed's amazing engineering leadership especially. Catch is looking for a big finish. We got some Catch homies. There's Kimber. Kimber, say hi. And where I saw Sam. Catch people, there you are.
Ethan.
Everyone's dark from here. There's Ethan. Who else?
That's it.
So Catch is winding itself up for a big
And
finish.
Nicole, sorry.
Where's Nicole?
Nicole's there too.
You guys got to stop lurking. There you are. So Catch is winding up for a big finish. It's a very suspenseful time for Catch right now. I see Kimber nodding her head. We're all hands on deck working a number of really important deals. We have this huge competitor at Catch that we're very successfully unseating in a lot of the key signature deals, and it's very inspiring, right? Because this is a David and Goliath kind of situation, and this small but mighty team continues to rise to that challenge. Rembrandt, we're going to be hearing from Rembrandt, but we have Dave and Omar and Corey. Stand up, guys, so we can see who you are. Oh, come on, Corey. There you are. Rembrandt, we're very privileged to have led their recent financing, Omar and team are creating a new category, as I see things. It's a new category of AI creative for programmatic advertising. It's a multi-trillion-dollar global opportunity, and it's a space that just cries out for reconstitution through AI, and Omar's team is leading that charge. Point Health and Headlamp, there's Joe and Rachel. Stand up. Erwin, there we are. There's Erwin. So if you see these folks, give them a big hug because they're fundraising right now.
Both of them.
Both companies are out fundraising right now. It's always, that's the most stressful time for entrepreneurs, right? Every bit of this is stressful, but getting out there with your tin cup and singing for your supper is what we need to do at this stage. And so we're supporting Point Health and Headlamp as every which way we can as they go through those twists and turns. And finally, I just wanted to call attention to the Ethical Tech Project. Is Jenny in the room? Jenny Baird, there you are, Jenny. So Ethical Tech Project is a group that we were very privileged to help form some years ago. As the name conveys, and I think people are broadly aware of it, it is an undertaking, a convening of policy, academic, legal, and other experts who take seriously the question of how to create ethical technology with particular focus on doing the right thing with data. We live in perilous times, and there's a lot of bad actors and not so positive actors doing things that really assault our data dignity, and it's God's work. So it's important. Really, really grateful to Jenny, who has taken over the chairpersonship of ETP in the last year. That's the quick rundown there. I want a quick mention on Lucen. Some of you have asked. Adrian, stand up. You don't actually just stay seated. We can still see you just fine. Okay, stand up. Adrian sitting down is still like 2 inches taller than me. So Lucen is an AI consulting company that we formed this last year. It's the early phases here, but the premise for Lucen, because there have been some questions like, what's that all about? It's an opportunity for us, there we are again, to stand in customers' pain, learn about problems that can be transformed through the application of AI. Some of those solutions will be bespoke, custom solutions for companies who are at the early phases of saying hi to AI. Many of them, we think, can turn into patterns that turn into new companies. So Lucen, in some sense, is a learning ground for all of us at Superset to create new AI-first companies. All right. Let's switch gears here and reflect on where we've been and quickly as to where we're headed. So I think you've heard from us already, right? We're learning every day, positive and negative lessons. We've talked about velocity and the need to rise to that challenge, right? I've had a couple conversations with a few people lately. It's important to know what you know, and at the same time, to stay so humble about all the things you don't know and to recognize that what got you here won't necessarily get you there. So one more time, learning on the job.
No, again, I think as Tom said, we've touched on all of these themes earlier today, but for me, the biggest, the last 6 months, I've had a lot of time to reflect and spend time with myself to think about all that's unfolded in the last 2.5 years since ChatGPT came out. And for me, the biggest thing is the way I used to operate, whether it's how I build software, whether it's how I engage with people, whether it's how I write, all of these things, all that is changing. And you just need to have an open mind and let go of, well, but we've always done it that way. And you have to embrace, really, okay, we're actually going to do things this way now because it changes, it helps us achieve the velocity that we want. And that's the biggest. If there's one takeaway from my perspective that you get, I mean, a lot of you may have already realized this, but just be prepared to rethink everything. And that's really the biggest thing for me in the reflection. And building company building is always hard. It's become even harder now because there's so much capital available. Building products has become so much easier than it was even 3 years ago. And there is the entrepreneurship and people wanting to, co-founders, like I joke around with people. You stand in the middle of San Francisco and throw a stone and you'll see 50 companies. You'll hit 50 companies that are doing the exact same thing that you're doing. How are you going to differentiate? How are you going to set yourself apart? How are you going to do things 50x faster than the other guy? How are you going to get to the customers that are being called upon by those same companies who are competing with you? Everything needs to be rethought. And we're doing that ourselves too. It's hard. Rethinking and changing habits, it's hard, but we have to do it.
So this applies to company building, but it also applies to Superset, right? Remember, our ambition at Superset is to create a method, a replicable method for company formation. It's not to say that we can remove all of the risk and all of the complexity, but it is to believe in the possibility of accelerating and creating a rhythm and a flow to company formation. So Jeremy, whether you know it or not, is really the keeper and the fine-tuner of the model, as we call it at Superset, the orchestrator of these new formations. Jeremy, I was wondering if you would talk a little bit about what's changed, what's ahead in terms of just the method for company formations at Superset.
Sure. By the way, I hate when people say, "What's the model?" So I think the short answer is we'll take more shots and do more things because things are moving so quickly that you kind of got to keep up. And so it'll be a good thing if we try 10 things and 10 of them don't work or 9 of them don't work. People know it's hard, and yet I think there's so much chatter on LinkedIn and other places. I was talking to Karina before this of companies that have done exceedingly well and that have these huge valuations that sometimes people lose sight that it's hard. There's another Charlie Munger quote that I don't quite remember, but it's supposed to be hard. Anyone who doesn't feel it's hard is stupid. It's something like that. But and
that sounds like Charlie Munger.
No shortage of idiots. So people forget that it's hard. I think we kind of need to lean into that. We'll take a lot more shots. Things won't work. That's okay. A lot more sort of meeting the market first and building second. And then every once in a while there'll be sort of a big shot that we take where there's just sort of a clear conviction internally that we can uproot the way that taxes are done, for example, and that's just a huge bet that we take, or one of any number of others. But I think the answer is velocity: more shots, more quickly, working with more awesome people.
Many years ago, if you're sitting in this room, whether you are explicitly aware of it or not, you like hard things. You could have chosen any number of other much safer undertakings. And so I'm reminded in this moment many, many years ago when I hadn't reached this realization. I have a close friend, Jeff, and I'd carry on like a princess, like, how can I go on? I must go on. How can I go on? I must go on. And this good friend, Jeff, took me aside and said, Chavez, would you please shut up? You love this stuff, right? And so as hard as it gets, I urge you to think about the joy that you're actually taking from it, because these new puzzles, if it were easy, if you just summited right away, well, what's interesting and unique about that, right? The zigs, the sags, the gutter balls, you can't appreciate the strike unless there have been a couple of gutter balls. So thank you all for enjoying, not just tolerating, but actually finding joy in these hard things. Let's switch gears here. We have been building the team at Superset, and I just want to give big ups to all of the people here, Sharik, Casey, Joey, Ela, Kat, yes, thank you, Eric, Harsh, Adrian, Deirdre. This is another small but mighty team, right, that punches well above its weight. We're here to support you. Our job is to make every other entrepreneur and employee in the portfolio successful. That is our unique reason for being. That's what we do. We wake up in the morning, we go to sleep at night with that conviction, with that clarity. So I really want to celebrate and give thanks to this team. As we're looking to scale and build Superset, and so what I will tell you, it's been a funny thing for me. I've actually met a couple people who introduced themselves as my future partner at Superset. And I thought, well, you would think I would know these things. There's a lot of hubris and a lot of, it's a tricky thing in Silicon Valley where people achieve some modest level of success and it all goes to their heads. And so what I will tell you is that we've kissed a lot of frogs as we think about building the general partnership here at Superset. And Jeremy, Vivek, and I are immensely grateful to welcome these two new GPs to the crew. Omar, Peter, would you please join us? So we, the three of us are hardworking, but we need to scale Superset, and we know some things, but we're very clear about all the things we don't know. And so it's really a powerful thing for us to welcome these two new GPs to the crew. I'm going to start with Omar. Omar, if you like, tell us a little bit about yourself, and if you would, how you and I met, because it wasn't an everyday kind of situation, was it?
Yeah, so, well, first, even before the story of how we actually met, I knew about Tom because I was working on this really early startup back in 2001 that ran recommendations for Nordstrom, Barnes & Noble. It was like a SaaS AI company before we had a word for SaaS or AI. But one of the problems that we're really interested in was strategic pricing. And I remember talking to people, there's this one company who's done a really cool job, and it was basically Tom to Vivek. That company got acquired by Microsoft. And so then I started Blue Kai, and while he was still at Microsoft, we talked to him about what we were doing at Blue Kai, and at the time, it was a data marketplace. We still hadn't launched the DMP, and they were starting to figure out that they wanted to do kind of a DMP. So the story before the story was there was a lot of mutual respect. Then we became competitors, like fierce competitors. And I remember our teams would, basically beat the shit out of each other. So, and we got to work together and find out that it's just two companies competing. And it just continued. Then I was on the board of LiveRamp and remember really being impressed with Habu and basically, pounding the table saying, we have to do this deal. And we did do the deal. And then after that, I got to speak more with Tom and Vivek and the team. And yeah, it's been great going from fierce competitors where teams are like, oh my God, stay away from them. Oh my God, they're evil, they're terrible. And then, we got to know each other, so.
Here. Well, and so maybe a quick note on Rembrandt. I gave the short version, the category, as I think of it. But can you just give a little color as to Rembrandt and how you're building the company and some of the exciting things ahead?
Absolutely. And just one quick thing for Rembrandt. I've got Corey and David with me, who were in the back there, who were with me on previous journeys also. So, we built Blue Kai together, and then we went off, we built out an AI company back in 2017 that was like an AI agent for meetings before those words were used. And Cisco bought it, they integrated in us. So we went from, building a marketing company to building a pure AI company, AI first, and then now Rembrandt. So what's Rembrandt? Essentially, the problem we're solving with Rembrandt, and I really like the way Tom put it, is we watched programmatic advertising grow, to massive scale, from zero to what it is today. But what's the interesting thing about everybody in this room is that you probably are going to go home sometime and literally pay money to skip ads. You're going to watch Netflix, Amazon Prime, on YouTube you might pay for premium. If you can skip an ad, you skip it. So if people hate ads so much that they pay to avoid them, shouldn't we do something different? And that's essentially the mission of Rembrandt, is to essentially embed the brand into the content that you love. And then when you see content that's really good, you can turn those into ads. So it's radically transforming. It's been this, 10 to 20-year march about bidding systems becoming, efficient and using targeting and optimizing and eking 1 or 2 percentage points of more effectiveness, more efficiency out of the system. And what they missed is the ability to crack open the creative and make that more effective, because that's a 10 or 100x swing factor on outcomes. So what made that possible? In the past, it was all humans doing this. You spend a month creating an ad that's a 30-second spot with anywhere from $500,000 to $1 million. The world moves way too fast for that. With AI, now we can open that up and change the outcome. So that's what we've been focusing on at Rembrandt. So if you see a TV show and you see, a billboard or a Coke can on the table, it might not actually be on the table. It might actually be Rembrandt who put it there.
I had a chance to connect with Corey the other day, and it's very meaningful when Corey tells me, yeah, I met this guy, Omar, like, I'm going to work with that guy here. And he's over here. I'm going to go there now. I'm going to go there now. It's a very powerful thing, Omar, when you have people as talented as these, and you get to work with them for decades as you have.
Awesome.
Really cool.
And if you get to see anything we do, it's really these guys. So, Corey is our CMO and kind of like my forever CMO, and David runs product and COO. And if anything is problematic or chaotic at Rembrandt, it's me. And if it's like the trains are moving right, it's David. So, yeah.
That's just the exact opposite of what Tom does.
You're going to get in big trouble later. You're hanging on by the thinnest of threads right now.
Yeah.
Peter, please say hi. Tell us a little bit, where have you been? What brings you to Superset?
I've been all over the place. I feel really lucky to have had a bit of a chaotic journey that's brought me here. I started out as an academic in AI, or machine learning as we used to call it before it was cool. Found academia way too slow. I liked to compete and it didn't feel competitive enough. Ended up starting a company in software before cloud. Made every mistake you could possibly imagine. Almost went bust about 4 times. It was tough. Sold that. And as part of that, ended up working in a massive organization and trying to transform that. Then I ended up here in Silicon Valley, turning around a company called Quantcast. That was brutal. 5 years of my life was just stripping that back down to the bones, if you like, and rebuilding. And we finally got there last year, and we finally crossed that 250 million ARR, and back onto growth and back onto profitability. And I thought, in November last year, it's time to climb a new mountain. I need to do something new. And I said, but before I do that, I promised my wife and kids I wouldn't immediately jump onto something, as I've been known to do. I was just going to reflect. I was going to take a bit of a sabbatical. So I said, I'm not going to do anything for 6 months. I failed entirely to not do anything for 6 months. I built 3 products. I spent 3 days a week in Superset. I spent a day a week over at Y Combinator, a day a week somewhere else, and joined many companies' boards. I thought, what the fuck is wrong with me? Why do I do this? So I took 9 weeks and traveled around Southeast Asia and had no devices. So I could really just take a moment and a breath and thought, what is it that drives me? And when it comes down to it, I just love what I do. I love competing. I love building stuff. I love building stuff with a team. I love building companies. And I think Superset's a great place to do that. And it's somewhere I think I can have a real impact.
I'm sure of it. I'm sure of it. Really, really great. Well, listen, we are in the earliest innings still over here at Superset. Okay, this is our 4th annual summit, but we never started this with the idea that it was going to be a one and done in 4 or 5 or 6 years. We're passionate company builders, and we're committed to the long haul. So as you look at what we're trying to achieve here today, please also understand there is no, Superset's just a state of mind unless the entrepreneurs in this room are building, unless we're able to create the soil conditions for all of you to be awesome, right? And to build enduring, valuable companies. So thank you for all the creativity and commitment, all the vim and vigor you bring to the job every single day. It's inspiring for us. I'm not afraid to tell you, I need it. I draw a lot of energy from that when I'm in the office and I get to see all of these smart, amazing, hardworking people doing what they do. So let's treat this next 36 hours as an opportunity to really celebrate all of that. Let's keep on learning from each other. Let's have some fun. Thank you. Let's move on.